This is Jay of Rule Your Reality, and today we're going to talk about the crazy rise of social anxiety in young people and why we just don't seem to want to change it. Of course, I acknowledge that anxiety is a very real mental disorder. So, as always, just to discuss, never to offend. But to what extent is our anxiety justified? And when do we decide to make a real, lasting change? Let's see what we can find. Without me telling you any real numbers or facts, there's no denying that today's younger generation are more anxious than their predecessors. Far more anxious. And at this rate, the next generation will be even worse. The online site Turnaround Anxiety has said that if we took today's college students and put them in the 1940s, 85% of them would be considered to have some form of anxiety or depression. 85%. Now that's crazy, but a lot can change in a society in that period of 70 years or so. What's the real difference here? Psychologist Peter Kruger has this to say about anxiety in an interview with the Daily Telegraph. From research, we know that people with no choice are significantly more resilient because they can blame life or other people when they make a wrong decision. But if you make a wrong decision, having had a range of choice, you have no one to blame but yourself. We become much more obsessive because we want to make the right decision every time. So to put it more simply, Kruger is saying that Gen Y is terrified of making the wrong decision. Whether this be marrying the wrong person, pursuing the wrong career, or just feel that they've made a terrible mistake with life. Who knew that living in a world so full would leave us each feeling so empty? As we know, the more an idea spreads, the more it becomes real. Anxious people are hanging out with anxious people, talking about their anxiousness and becoming more anxious for it. But why make friends in real life when you can meet online? Why talk to a potential lover when you can spend hours crafting the perfect response? Anxiety is clearly a real issue for many of us. But at what stage do we misread worry for a mental disorder or an awkward situation for a panic attack? Sometimes anxiety is comfort. For many of us, stepping out of that comfort zone and into a better future is simply too distressing. Many people turn to drugs or alcohol as much as possible as a short-term solution to make up for their anxious personality. But you don't need me telling you that never ends well. As we've discussed, anxiety in society has increased over time, so I know it's something we can work on and defeat. For some of us, anxiety is our biggest demon to slay. It's not an easy journey, and it doesn't end quickly. However, I insist that you don't accept anxiety as something that is a part of you. It starts with a want to change, and indeed for many of us, it is a need to change. No one should have to suffer an illness that is perhaps both preventable and curable. Anxiety is something we no longer strive to beat. It's something we're just putting up with. Simply put, this is unacceptable. As a society, we need to change the way we think about anxiety. So let me pose this to you. You can't hold eye contact, not because you have anxiety, it's because you've never forced yourself to maintain eye contact again and again and again. You're constantly fidgeting and uncomfortable, not because you have anxiety, it's because you don't take time out of the day to relax, meditate, and breathe. You're uncomfortable when you walk into a room full of strangers, not because you have anxiety, simply because you're human. This has been Jay of Rule Your Reality, and remember, the only thing that I know for sure is that I don't really know for sure, but I'm ready to learn. As always, follow us on all relevant social media, and don't forget to click subscribe and like the video. Until next time, thank you.